Hello, Connective. Welcome back. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Subscribe, comment, and like without smashing anything, and let's get into this energy. This is a collective reading for Aquarius. Aquarius, we've already got jumpers for your overlying and underlying energies. For your overlying energies, we got one Akashic card and one Universal Law card. And then for your underlying energies, we got one Akashic card and two Universal Law cards. And I'm going to tell you right now already, Aquarius, this is a pretty interesting looking reading. It doesn't have to be about relationships. It could be. I kind of am getting more, a lot of times I get like a spiritual awakening vibe. I don't necessarily consider it to be like a spiritual awakening vibe. It could be, but more I'm picking up like a general reading about like a course of life. So let's say, we'll just start to talk about what the energy is looking like as we get the energy cards to come out, and then I'll show you the cards for the overlying and underlying energy. But basically, it's kind of looking like there was either like a situation or an event where it caused, which basically caused you to, well, I was going to say caused you to be strong, but actually the energy is more like revealing to you a strength that you already had. So reminding you a situation that was created or occurred that was reminding you of how strong you actually are. You know, kind of like that feeling, like that energy to the point where you don't like really want to be that strong. Like you don't really want to have to be that strong kind of thing. Okay. This is a very specific like vibration that I'm picking up. So I mean, if it doesn't sound like you, then it's not you. This is for a specific type of person who is sensitive towards things and has gone through something substantial enough. Okay, so let's see what we can get to come out for this deck. It's kind of behaving a little strange. So basically, the strength in you that you have is always there. It wasn't created from a situation. It wasn't caused by a situation. It's something that you were like born with. It's part of you, part of your character, right? Something you wouldn't be able to change if you wanted to, kind of a thing. That's why we say, you know, almost like you wish you didn't have to be that strong, or wish you weren't that strong kind of thing, because a lot of times when something happens that's substantial enough, damaging enough, we kind of just, you know, it's multifaceted, but you know, one of those facets is we want to be mad at somebody that, you know, we're not as mad at them because we understand their side of the situation, or something to that effect, kind of thing, you know. That's very general, but it's just, that's all I'm getting right now, because I do want to get to this other energy, because we're going to be probably getting back to the strength anyway. Like I said, there's different things going on here, obviously. Like, we got enough energy cards. Usually I at least just, you know, finish going through it, and like, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, stuff wants to keep coming out. They're gonna, you know, I want them to keep coming out. This is the one that fell on the floor. We're gonna look at that one, see what that was. That wanted to totally get away. So for the overlying energy, so we have out of the Akashic deck the Two of Forces, which is the Willow. So this is my like either strong person or strong relationship card. Like I said, in this one, I'm picking it up as like a strong person, like a survivor. Like it doesn't matter what this person goes through, like they always come out like in one piece. If not, then they always manage to put the pieces back together, kind of thing. And this is the law of vibration. Practice the art of not knowing and start flowing. So these two cards kind of go together, but they also go with the underlying energy in a really strong way. So I have to get to the underlying energy and then flip back to how they tie in together. So for the first one, for the Akashic deck, on the underlying energy, we have the One of Scrolls, which is on track, okay? So a lot of times, like I said, this card is like, hey, am I going the way I'm supposed to be going in my life? Like, I'm not sure, you know, and this card always says, yeah, you're going in the right direction, right? I feel like this card is representing the fact that whatever thing happened in your life, like an event, or an event to me is like a one-time happening, or it could have been a situation, which is like something that went on and on and on kind of a thing, but to the point where you made, like, it was so bad that not only did it bring out a strength in you that you didn't know you had, not necessarily maybe wanted to have, ever wanted to be in a situation where you needed to be that strong, but it caused you to question if you were totally off track on your life. Like either if you decided, like you were at the time, you were kind of like, hey, did I do this to myself? Like, did I, you know, like if you believe in setting your own life lessons up, you know, before you come down to this planet, oh, could I have done that? Or did I totally make a decision somewhere where I am now, you know, getting bad luck? You know, it would even be your perception on if you wanted to think, oh, okay, you know what, I might be off track, but I'm still learning lessons, da da da. Like you could look at it that way if you wanted to, but this kind of energy is like derailment. It's like this thing happened and it totally threw me off course. This wasn't supposed to happen, and I did not bring this into my life. Something happened. I have bad luck or something, and you know, is it because I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, or I'm not where I'm supposed to be, or you know, this is so terrible, like this couldn't possibly be my life. This couldn't possibly be my life kind of energy. And then for the universal law deck, we have the law of eternality. This is live like you are dying. So I feel like some of you guys are like, you know, like waiting to see like if this is really what your life was supposed to be like. You're like waiting for something to show you or tell you that it's supposed to be something else, or that you're on the right kind of track kind of thing. And I think that this card is kind of highlighting the fact that a lot of times we think like someday it'll be different. It's kind of like when we're supposed to get out of something and we kind of wait around for like the other person, if it's the other person that's making the situation miserable, like we wait around for them to end it, or we wait around for it to end on its own. Like if it has like outside influences that are trying to end it, we kind of just like sit around and wait for it to end. I mean, sometimes we're hanging on to it because we want to have it, but sometimes we want to be out of it and we can't get away and we're just waiting for it to end. And I kind of feel like this is saying like tomorrow isn't promised. Like don't assume that, you know, one day everything that will be better kind of a thing. This is saying to, you know, assume that if this was your last day, would you behave differently? It kind of reminds me of like, I always kind of say like, when I die, I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm so upset that I tried chocolate. Yeah. I think for most of us, the things that we're going to regret are the things that we didn't do, not the things that we did. And so keep that in mind when you're trying to decide always if you want to make a move. You know, if making the move and knowing what would be better than making the move and not ever knowing. And again, when you have behind you that you like are of the vibration of the thing that you're looking for or the thing that you want, this is again, you know, practice the art of not knowing and start flowing. Sometimes we can't see when we're in something, when we look forward, we can't necessarily see where we're going. And this is saying that just because you can't see where you're going doesn't mean that you're not going anywhere. Okay? It's one of those situations. I'm getting a picture in my head, which is funny because I don't usually get communicated with pictures in my head necessarily. It's more thoughts. But I'm getting a picture in my head of like driving down the highway and like having your lights on in the fog and only being able to see a certain amount until you might like move to the next spot, and then you can see a little bit further and you can see a little bit further. Like that's what I'm picturing right now. And then you have your underlying energy for the second law of universal law, we have the law of abundance. Open your mind to your prosperous nature. So I feel like this is what's coming. It's another thing. This is in the fog right now. You can't see it because you're still wondering if you're on track from this thing that you had to go through that you didn't really want to experience. Yeah, some of these have come out for other people, but you got, oh wow, okay. What fell on the floor? Oh, okay. All right, cool. So let's talk about this. So what we got in the energy cards, we're gonna have to go back to this one and this one. All right, so let's talk about this. So we have Door to Spirit, So spiritual awakening now on the table. So this could be, did I really plan this for my life? Did I plan this as part of my spiritual awakening? Or this could be, did I just, am I totally off track in my own life, just in my life? Like, do I have the wrong job? Or, you know, it might not even be spiritual. Do I have the wrong relationship? Did I do the wrong thing, make the wrong decision kind of thing? It could be a situation like that. But, you know, even if it is a situation like that, door to spirit is on the table. I mean, everybody's going through a spiritual awakening, but you could be going through what I call an active spiritual awakening, which is something that gets to the point when it shows up in your life where I was going to say intervenes. It doesn't really intervene, but it makes itself known. It's not one of those things where you kind of go, I'm a this and I'm a that. Like, it's like you experience some kind of discomfort from this. And that's what I call, like, when you're experiencing a spiritual awakening, you're actively doing something in your life to ease the effects of whatever this thing is bringing at the time. And that could be anything. Again, generally reading, you know, I can name some examples, but I feel like every example will be for one person. So, you know, all I can say is that if you've had any discomfort with any facets of a spiritual awakening, which you would consider to be a spiritual awakening, as far as like if your emotions are out of whack or certain things like that, then this is like what I'm talking about. And it's not usually just one thing. Like, you're wondering, oh, is that one thing? It's like 2, 3, or 4 different things that changed, that didn't used to be the way they were. You didn't know you felt that way. This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. And so, you know, we might as well stick with the doors. So the door to spirit we have up here, and then we have the door to personal healing and happiness, right? So again, healing and happiness, a lot of times we have to heal to be happy. There's usually something that we went through, it doesn't matter how long ago, that we have to heal from so that we can be happy. So, you know, they kind of go together as far as like, if you want happiness, you sort of have to heal kind of thing. I mean, there might be other ways to be happy, but we're talking about true happiness. And again, we have the door to spirit on the table. We can't like feign happiness through some, you know, material means. This isn't what we're talking about. We're talking about like real healing so that we can have true happiness, right? And this is the one that came on onto the floor, was with people that we love, our own community, our tribe, our people, good relationships, good friends, good family. And then we didn't talk about the cornucopia either. This is like everything you could ever want. This is if you showing up to a party and like anything that you could eat, order to eat is there on a table just waiting for you, right? So again, good friends, good family, good food. Let's skip this one again. Stick with a door. So we also have the door to romance. Interestingly enough, I forgot about that one. It was the first one I saw. And then we have man holding a heart. So nobody's gotten this one yet, right? So now we have love and romance on the table, with healing and happiness and spiritual awakening, with good friends, good family, and everything else we can ever want. Why would envy not be here? So this is the beginning of what we're seeing in the discord of the thing that happened that was bad enough for us to wonder if we're actually living our own lives, or if we're trapped in some kind of personal hell, Aquarius. This is, okay, so this is actively you. So this door to romance, this door to spirit, this door to personal healing and happiness, this person who's got the hots for you and your good friends, good family, you know, soul tribe, bringing, you know, potluck. It's with you, whether you're with a person who creates the situation that is the event that's upsetting or not. You have this. You can leave, if you're still in this relationship that's making you wonder if you're on track, you can leave this relationship and still have all of these things. That's what you're bringing to the table. That's what the willow is. So remember, your only flaw here is that you want to try to like be able to move forward with uncertainty without worrying that the shit is always going to hit the fan kind of thing. Now again, yeah, we do have interference. I'm going to call this interference right now because I don't see any other people on the table. I think Alice will tell us what we're healing from, what would bring, like what we would have to heal from to bring the personal healing and the happiness. Sometimes we don't even realize that we have something that somebody else would be envious about. I mean, even if we appreciate it, we have appreciation for it kind of thing. You know, it's kind of like getting married. Like everybody looks at it like everybody gets married. So then you go and get married and, you know, you take for granted the fact you don't realize that, you know, people might actually want your husband kind of thing, you know. And a lot of times it doesn't have anything necessarily to do with him per se or the way he looks. And this could go both ways, men, women, anybody who identifies as anything. But, you know, the thing is in the thing that you have with this person. They see the thing that you have with this person and they want what you have. And so sometimes when they come after like the persona of it, because they think that because you're so happy that that other person is bringing it, it could be simply that you're smart enough to look at your situation in a way that is conducive to your happiness. And this other person might not realize that. Sometimes that's why people get confused when they try to intervene in situations. They expect something and they get something totally different. They don't realize that the person that they asked out of the situation was the person that was bringing the stuff. This is wake up. So it's your moment. So this is kind of like, you know, usually that's my card of something's right in front of your face, but you need to see it. And this is impossible things. Working through disbelief, imaginative leaps, fresh perspective. So a lot of times I do pick this up as fresh perspective. I am picking it up as fresh perspective now, but I'm also picking it up as like something that you believed that wasn't true that you're now experiencing. So it's kind of like what I said about like waking up. It's like you were living on this lie, and then the lie was sort of apparent, or like at least at one point, or like over and over again in little points, to the point where it is sort of in your face, and you kind of have to realize that you've been believing in impossible things. You have to kind of like wake up and see that the thing that you're chasing is not what you want. Okay, I don't know why I said it that way, but I guess we'll get to that. So we also have growing up, wanting to grow and experience, rejection of perpetual youth. So this is kind of telling me saying no to cycles. Like when somebody keeps trying to run you through the same cycle and you get tired of it, you see it coming, you're like, you know what, I'm not doing that with you today. I want to have a nice day. I'm not going to do this with you today, kind of thing. Yeah. Who in the world are you? Getting to know the new you. So this is kind of like, to me, when we change and we have to get used to who we changed into. But it's also kind of like a statement. It's like a sovereignty. It's like deciding who you are and then agreeing to just be that person, just making peace with it, just knowing full well, like even if you've changed on your own and you didn't purposely change that way, to accept that who you are for, it's kind of like being in a situation where things have been going on for a long time, and then all of a sudden you wake up and you put your foot down and you just kick somebody to the curb. And then in the middle of the day you go, why'd I do that? It's kind of like basically saying it's because you decided to set a boundary and then you just did it. And just being okay with that. You have the right way, learning to create what you desire. Again, I always say, just as an example, let's say we're like, well, what would have happened if I wouldn't have kicked that person to the curb? What would have happened? Well, a lot of times a decent person is not going to show up and kick that person to the curb for you. That's something that you need to do. If you want somebody to come in who's not toxic, who's like bringing real love, real friends, real family, people who care about you, a higher way of living, a higher relationship, and like a chance to be happy, they're not going to do it through the toxicity that this situation created. They're not going to come in and do that. They're going to expect you to exhibit that you're out of a certain level of toxicity so that you can meet them somewhere close to where they are. Otherwise, you don't get that higher stuff. You're still in the low vibrational stuff. So deciding who you are that's a start, but it's not everything. You have to move yourself out of it. You have to trudge out of the mud or the quicksand. And this is curiouser and curiouser, discovery, inquiry, weirdness, curiosity. So I feel like this is a little bit discovery, but again, this is my card of the more you figure out, the weirder it gets. So again, sometimes with these impossible things, sometimes we realize that somebody didn't have to work that hard to convince us of something that wasn't ever real. And then it kind of draws our attention to like who we have to be to let somebody blindly lead us like that. Like if it's a jarring situation or an event, like how I call it, the first thing is, oh, how did I let that happen? You know, it's because you will trust, for starters. But then you get into that whole thing about trusting the wrong person and believing everything they say, and then on and on and on with this wake up card, right? And if you're just that type of person where you're just like, you know what, I'm not the type of person that just believes what, you know, everything I hear, then you already kind of set yourself up for questioning, at least to be able to pause for a moment and use your discernment as to whether or not somebody is actually telling you something that's true or not, right? And then we have nature communication, flower energies, fairy energies, and elemental messengers. This is my You Are Special card. I keep calling this my You Are Special card, but you know, if I had to elaborate on that, Aquarius, this is the first time I'm doing this for anybody, elaborating on, you know, what this card actually is. You know, it's kind of like you have a special talent. Through your spiritual awakening or through your spiritual gifts, you have a special talent. You may not know what it is right now, but you have a talent that not a lot of people have. That it's a rare talent that you've cultivated, something that you've earned and kept, that you have, that most of the time is something that can help others. But if you didn't know, like if you're just figuring out that you're on a spiritual awakening, you're just realizing that you're so strong because you hold on to your faith and you can't let necessarily other people wreck things, even if you were off track, because you know that you're strong and that you look at things, you know abundance is coming, kind of thing. And remember, sitting around and kind of like looking at the situation play out and like waiting for the next cycle to start and stuff like that, that's not going to help you out. You have to look at the situation to see what the impossible things are so that you can be who you need to be, so that you can use your gifts, so that you can do things the right way. Once you see what's going on, it's part of growing up. Because a lot of times in a situation like that, when something is working against you, and I don't know what this envy is, I don't know if it's a relationship that's causing you to want to, like the devastating event, or somebody that's just messing with your relationship. It's literally showing up as envy, which I always say could be any lower vibrational, you know, emotion, hatred, you know. I usually say they're mixed with other emotions. So it's envy has some kind of sadness to it or something. That person has what I don't have. Let me be envious and sad, you know. Looks like we got 3 or 4. I think 4 on the table. So let's see who else might be involved with you. But I'm almost ready for the blind spot. We're going to pull the blind spot in the extended. The link will be in the description. But I'm almost ready to see what might be holding us back from this, what might be keeping us from waking up. So we have last quarter moon in Sagittarius, practice gratitude. So usually when we're manifesting, and usually that cornucopia kind of means we're manifesting, they always remind us to practice gratitude, right? So we want to do that. So Sagittarius might be involved with you, Aquarius. And then we have last quarter moon in Virgo, attend to the details. So there might be a Virgo involved. And this is telling you that when you're looking at things, impossible things, you're trying to wake up as you're looking into things. Pay attention to the little stuff and how it fits together. This is full moon in Gemini, embrace the flow of life. So it could be a Gemini involved. And then we also have an Aries. Full moon in Aries, clear emotions. So sometimes when we do figure stuff out, it pisses us off. I told one of the other signs that envy is what envy does, you know, and if you let that get you upset, it kind of blocks you from being able to see, where is it? Attending to the details. So it kind of, you don't see it the way you're supposed to see it because your emotions are getting in the way, kind of thing. So you definitely, as you're looking at the situation and assessing stuff, especially if you're going to make plans like for your future kind of thing, if you're trying to move towards something that you want and it might entail moving away from something that you think you don't want, make sure that your emotions are in check when you make these decisions, so that you're not, there is, like I said, you know, there's more than one right way to do it. But doing it reactively is not one of them. It doesn't matter what anybody brings to your table, right? It's still your table. So Aquarius, if this is your reading, meet us over in the extended. We're going to pull the blind spot, see what's going on. And if not, until we meet again,